Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. My guest today is a legendary voice actor who I actually had the privilege of meeting at TFCon LA last month. His list of credits is, oh my gosh, it's off the books. I can't. I'm gonna try and list as many as I can, as fast as I can. But you may know him best as Grimlock, Skyfire, and Longhaul for the Transformers franchise, Eeyore in the Winnie the Pooh franchise, Odie in the Garfield franchise, Tycoon in the Wuzzles, A-Sitter in Fantastic Max. Remember that?
Yes, I
um,
do. You can't go into space in a dirty diaper.
oh my gosh, we have to talk about that. Okay, I'm gonna move that to one side. Okay, Junkyard in Toxic Crusaders, Corn-Fed Pig in Duckman, The Grumble in Our Real Monsters, Mysterio in Spider-Man 94, Agent K in Men in Black, the series, and other shows such as G.I. Joe, Gem, Batman the Animated Series. The list goes on, honestly, and the video games, the films, the live action stuff. My guest is Greg Berger. Hi, Greg.
Wow, you've got that's a better compiled list than I probably could have done off the top of my head. And in full disclosure, I'm one of the Eeyores. There's more than one, but I'm
Of course.
definitely one. I do get to lose my tail in the 100-acre wood, which just fell off again. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to
You're
be here.
welcome. I find it so funny how all of the Eeyores, most of them have been involved in the Transformers. So Brad Garrett was in the last series of the G1 cartoon. I can't remember. Was he?
Correct. You know
He
what?
was.
You know what? Those there was such careful casting in the original G1 series that
Yeah.
not only were we castmates in those original shows, but so many of us have gone on to have careers, not only sessions in the origin, but we've been friends for a lifetime. Part of it was because we were able to bond in those sessions. So much writing happened during the sessions, and the sessions were long and grueling. But that time in the green room and in the parking lot outside the studio um,
Uh-huh.
really gave us time to kill, to pass, and become friends. There was bonding involved. And if Scatman Carruthers brought his ukulele, nobody was in a hurry to go back into the studio. I can tell you that.
Oh no, definitely not. And just like a lot of the stories I've heard, and of course I've heard from Scott Brownlee, who came with me to TFCon.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, I know all these different stories. Like Ed Gilbert once brought in a tarantula, and it got lost. Most of this I've read. Most of these I've read in Dan Gilbert's
Well, he
honest
is
book.
an entomologist, or was,
Yeah,
and so he's entitled. He's a bug man. Was. May he rest in peace.
yeah, definitely. A lot of people, just speaking of bonding as in friendships, we've got to talk about two special events that are close to my heart. Of course, the first one is TFCon LA, which we, of course, just met at last month. It was very, very good seeing you in person for the first time, and it was lovely to have Scott Brownlee and Noel North with me as well, and they enjoyed me and everyone. So,
Me too, you.
yeah.
I was just speaking to you before we hit record about how many of the Transformers community, nation, generations, plural, know each other in cyberspace, but have never met in the real world, in person, in the physical personage,
Yeah.
and how beautiful it is when there's these events where people are actually able to meet, not digitally, not in cyberspace, but in real life, in person. It's a really beautiful thing every time it happens, as it did
Definitely.
in Los Angeles at TFCon.
Definitely. It was my first TFCon and it won't be your last. I probably will be coming back next March.
Oh, just so awesome. And these gatherings have become a phenomenon. These are like meetings of the Transformers nation.
I think it's really lovely. And of course I've got to ask because I've been asking a lot of people since it happened. Uh in the green room of TFCon, did you end up seeing Peter and Frank on the Sunday?
Oh, of course. I mean, we're great friends over the course of a lifetime, and every time we're in the same place, of course, we spend as much time together as possible. We all have, and this is thankfully, and with nothing but gratitude that we're there for the fandom, and we're very busy at our tables, and that's the first function. But during the rest periods, of course, the jokes are jokes of a lifetime, and everybody laughs at the same stuff, and we reminisce, and but it's really about, it's about the present tense, not the past tense. There's nostalgia, but we find the same stuff funny. They're friendships that are enduring. And, this wins vocal Trivial Pursuit, but Generation 1 Megatron and Generation 1 Grimlock are also the current voices of Garfield and Odie. I've been barking and slurping Odie the dog since the very first special for CBS, and I still bark and slurp Odie. And Frank has been entrusted with the voice of Garfield since we lost Lorenzo Music, and so that has to speak to vocal versatility, which we both majored in. And so there's that. We see each other regular, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw on Facebook, I think it might have been Michael Horton who put on Facebook, it was a picture of Frank and Peter and Bo Weaver and Laurie Fazzo, and I think Michael Bell might have been there. Yeah, he was. And I asked them, what was it like and stuff. And then Michael was like, I think your name got brought up in conversation. I was like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. I was like, what was the context? He was like, I think it might have been brought up by Frank. I think he asked people like, and this is coming from Laurie Fazzo, like, they were just talking about me and they were asking, did you meet Amber? And just like, oh my gosh, I feel so flattered, just wow, oh my gosh, it's just wow, it feels so great. And now, thanks to this, Scott Brownlee now wants to do these TF cons, these TF nations. So
well, that's great. You have made your presence known.
Yes, indeed, I have.
You're a known quantity.
And of course, you're coming to TF Nation this August, which I'd like to talk about, honestly. And I've got to ask, I've heard Raymond bring this up. You and David Kay once did a Grimlock off. Would you do another one this August?
At the drop of a tail swipe.
Good, because I didn't witness the previous one because I wasn't there.
At the drop of a Dinobot tail swipe.
Yeah. I was gonna say because I wasn't there when you did it last, because obviously I only got into Transformers around 4 years ago. So TF Nation 23 was my first year, and this will be my second year. So that's exciting.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I've got to bring up now is the 40th anniversary Transformers event that is being screened in cinemas all across the country, in the UK, in the US, all over the world. Just you, Frank, Peter, Paul Lighting, Michael Bell, Dan Gilbazan, Frank Tadaro, all these people, Rufus Kinchin, just like, wow, all these people. I kind of knew about this already because one of them told me that it was happening before the whole thing was, filmed and everything. But all I'm going to ask, because I'm not sure if you can give out any information past this point, what can we expect from this special event?
Well, only that the cameras were wandering everywhere, and I don't know what bits and pieces of candid camera will be included, but they were very good at catching all of presumably all of the conversations that were going on and just the love that was in the room. And I hope that makes it in, because it was so special as a reunion of all of us getting together, and just enjoying the space and enjoying each other, and enjoying the being there and sharing and a casual morning and afternoon together, and hopefully the joy and the warmth and the camaraderie of all of that will be part of what makes it onto the screen, because it was a wonderful day.
Well, I'll let you know my thoughts when I go and see it in the cinema. I'm honestly so excited for it because it's on the big screen. I just go to the kiosk and buy popcorn and stuff, and then I'm just sitting in this recliner seat and I'm just looking up, and there's just all these people I love and admire just on a massive IMAX screen. It's everything I wanted.
It should be a really pleasant, wonderful experience.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. And the last Transformers thing I want to talk about briefly, we need to do a part two in the future. I think we should in maybe a few
Okay.
months' time. So I don't think, yeah, because we it was about 3 years since the Hasbro Pulse stop motion shorts that you
Uh-huh.
did
Yeah.
with Flint Dille and Joe Troutman.
Right.
And it's such a coincidence because the day before you guys recorded your lines, well, no, not on the day, it was a few hours before, I actually interviewed John Machita for my channel for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did it a few hours before the recording, and then I was like, wow, that's just the connection it kind of
Me no
made.
nice dino.
So what was
Me
it
no
like?
kisser.
So what was it like sort of stepping back into the role of Grimlock and just working in the studio with all these people, Travis Ryan and Stan Bush and everyone like that?
Look, any opportunity, when they say jump, I say how high. It's so flattering every time you get the call. Every time it extends the life of my association with Grimlock. Grimlock has been so good to me. I hopefully have been so good to Grimlock. It's afforded me travel opportunities. I'm going back to the UK in August. I'm so excited about that. I just got back from Australia where I did two back-to-back huge conventions with lines I could not see to the end of. And Grimlock is a crowd favorite, in addition to all the other characters that you read off your list. You know, I've been attached to many, many iconic characters, and these conventions have afforded me invitations as a special guest all over the world. And when I fly 6,000 miles, 9,000 miles, and walk into a room where I cannot see the end of the line that's waiting at my signing table, it blows my mind. It's humbling and empowering at the same time. You know, I want
Yeah.
to beat my chest and sort of hold my heart in gratitude at the same time. I have no sense, nor do any of us, of how global the reach of what we do and what we have done is. These shows go all over the world, but we don't have a sense of it in the doing of it. But we have made, are making, and will continue to make friends all over the planet without knowing it. And it just fills my heart with gratitude. Um, these shows in Australia were mind blowing, and so much merchandising has taken place for whatever reason around the characters that I've done, and people bring things to be signed, and it just makes me feel like a king, and me king, and it's good to be the king.
Yeah, it's like a global phenomenon. It's honestly just so amazing. Of course, with the new Roberson Grimlock, that's been out
Holy
for a
cow!
while now. I know. I saw it at TF Nation last year, and I was like, this is just, and they just revealed Megatron yesterday, and just wow, I really do wish I had a Grimlock. I mean,
This
I
Grimlock robot has 1,500 voice cues, all voiced by me.
oh my god.
Uh, and it starts yelling at you. Grimlock starts commanding you from the moment that you begin to open the package. She starts telling you that you're doing it wrong or that you're doing it right, and it never stops after that. It's just astonishing and next level technology. It's an amazing robot.
The question is, do you own a Roberson Grimlock yourself? The
Maybe
gift
I
one.
do.
I was gonna say you're fully worthy of one. You should try and
Yes,
speak to it and give it commands in your Grimlock voice. I know it wouldn't really react, but I just
maybe
think it'd be
I have.
funny. Who knows? Who knows? Now, we've only got 10 minutes left of this interview, but I just wanted to touch down on some of my favorite roles from you. So, first of all, of course, going back to the late 80s, early 90s, Fantastic Max, where you voiced A B Sitter. Of course, Mike Young, the creator of the program, I've had on my show before. Absolutely amazing man. He comes from my side of the pond, Wales. I just, just wow. It's just so cool because like the partnerships he did with Hanna-Barbera and all these big voice actors he managed to get for them. It's just amazing. What was it like working for Mike Young?
Well, I have to tell you, there's more attached to that because that was really my first Hanna-Barbera series. Uh,
Oh,
but
really?
oh yeah,
Oh my
it was my first
goodness.
Hanna-Barbera series, but that's
Mm-hmm.
attached to another story that I'll try to abbreviate. Gordon Hunt, who did all the voice direction at Hanna-Barbera, had seen me in a play, and theater is my first love. Theater is what brought me to California with a tour of a Neil Simon play that I was doing. Theater is what I try to go back to whenever I can.
Mm-hmm.
But he had seen me in a play where I was jumping in and out of roles. Paul Eiding was also in the same play. I was an understudy in the play, and I thought, no one will ever see me. I'll never go on. Why am I even doing this? But my manager said, you will be seen. Something will happen. You should do it. It's so good for you. And he said, I'm recommending that you do it. So I did it. And the night came where the person I was covering was unable to go on. I went on. Gordon Hunt was in the audience. He came backstage and said, if you're as versatile as what I just saw on stage, we should know about you at Hanna-Barbera. I said, I would love to be working at Hanna-Barbera. If you could move my demo from the bottom of the pile to the top and listen to it, I would love to be doing work for you. He said, you got a lot of nerve, huh? And I said, normally, no. I'm usually so polite. I apologize my way right out of the room. And he said, no, I love it. He had me in less than a week later for some peripheral roles. Then he kept me in mind and had me in and auditioned me for A.B. Sitter, the plastic parent of Fantastic Max, who said, Max, you can't go into space wearing a dirty diaper. So he was all that and more. Uh, it was a fantastic experience. It was a fantastic experience. Um, and I loved everyone involved, including Mike Young, including Nancy Cartwright, Bart Simpson, who was also in the cast.
Mm-hmm.
It just to be involved and to have that experience of a series at Hanna Barbera and feel the wonderful ghosts in the walls of that building and walking down the hallways of that building and into the studio of that building and knowing that I was doing a series in that building with those people, with Gordon, with that cast. Um, maybe other people take doing the work for granted. I never do. I never have, and I never will. These are opportunities when you're at a microphone in the studio in those days at Hanna-Barbera, for me and people who have sensitivities, the first thing I think about is how many people are not standing at that microphone at that moment, and how many people that I treasure that are my role models who have stood at that microphone in the past over years. People that I was watching on Saturday mornings with my head in my hands on the floor of at my TV on Saturday mornings in the past, or in early mornings or in the afternoons. And it means something to me. Everything means something to me. I care, um, and I take my career seriously, and I realize I'm part of a legacy that has a past, a present, and a future, and I enjoy paying it forward now. I hope that someone younger feels that way about me. I like lighting matches that light torches that I can pass to those who come after. I care. It matters to me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Good on you, Greg. Good on you, Greg. You're doing really well, I think.
Thanks.
You're welcome. The final topic I'd like to quickly talk about is, of course, one of my favorite things, the DC animated universe. Of course,
Woohoo!
Yay! Of course, you've done quite a bit of work as some incidental characters, and honestly, just like I'm looking at it now, you did Batman the animated series. You were in A Bullet for Bullock. You were in Superman the animated series. So like the episodes like Where There's Smoke and the Late Mr. Kent, and of course you did Batman Beyond, and Static Shock, and the Zeta Project. Just wow! I've got to ask, what was it like working on these? Did you ever do any group sessions with anyone?
Well, everything was done. Everything, all of the shows you just mentioned were done ensemble style. Everybody's in the room at the same time. I'm a big proponent of actors working with actors. We want to play in the sandbox with each other all at the same time. Everybody leave for recess, go to the sandbox. I think if it's funny, it gets contagiously funnier. If it's urgent, it gets contagiously more urgent. If you're saving the universe, the stakes get higher. If you can work with other people at the same time, and if Andrea Romano is on the other side of the glass, you're a thoroughbred running in the derby. It doesn't get any better. She directs it like a Philharmonic. You were in the most capable hands you can imagine, and everything sings, and you leave so proud of the work and so proud of the session, and with such respect for everybody else because you see each other's work. You pump each other up. Everything just gets better when you work together. And
Yeah.
if something overlaps, so what? You go back and do it again and fix it. It's just nowadays the current way of working tends to be, and part of it is COVID related, but even before that, there was a tendency to move toward isolated, alienated recording. One
Yeah.
person in the booth, one person on the other side of the glass. Well, you get the performance, but then the burden is on the sound mixer to do this jigsaw puzzle and hope everything sort of fits with the person who recorded before you and person who records after you. I say, we come to play. We want to play with each other. Not saying that there's not a massive skill set involved, because there is, but it still comes down to talking and listening when you want spontaneity in the reads. So all of these sessions that I grew up with and spent the better part of my career with were ensemble, and
Mhm.
I think the result shines when you get to work together. It's
Yeah.
it's it's the best you can hope for.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what they say,
All the
teamwork makes the dream
Wally
work.
Burr said everybody in the scene is to be in the room with everybody else who's in the scene. I don't want anything done in isolation, in splits.
Yeah, and they're all going to be done in 8 hours.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but look at the longevity of
I
what came out of
know.
it. It still has all the legs that it ever had. It's still finding a new generation who's embracing it, watching it, and holding on to it and loving it.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Greg, thank you so much for coming on to my show for a little while. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you.
For me too.
Yeah, definitely.
For me too.
Yeah, same. For me too. Too.
The
I'm just
Mutual
gonna.
Admiration Society.
So, Greg, where can we find you on social media? Where can we find you on the net?
Primarily Facebook. I try to keep it lively and compelling and funny and silly and occasionally stupid. All those things are my jam. So Facebook, and then / Greg Berger. Remember, it's Gregg, Berger. Instagram less frequently, but I'm trying to amp that up a bit. And you can search me and find me. And if you want to know the full list of credits and you don't mind paging and paging and paging, just go IMDb and search my name.
Do you know a fellow voice actor called Greg Berg by any chance?
Very well. For many years, I
Just
always make a joke at conventions that
so similar.
Yeah, so similar. The joke I make at conventions is he always returns my checks, my residual checks, and I've always been able to cash his.
Oh, that is awesome. Oh my god.
Not
Well,
really.
well, yeah, but just you guys having a similar name, but just like the circumstances, it's
He's
just
very talented
crazy.
too. Yeah, we
He is
work for
indeed.
all the same people.
I hope to have him on my show one day. Well, Greg, thank you so much. And to you at home, thank you so much for watching as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back in the future with part 2, hopefully. So, with that, we'll see you then. Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye. And cut.